is, Latin-based last name. But a lot of people often mistake it in the pronunciation as charisma. So I've just taken it upon myself to sort of, take it. I'll take it.
You do have nice energy.
So like my socials, my Instagram, it's Justin Charisma, right? And it's okay. You can mispronounce it. I like it. I'll take it, right? Speaking of charisma, that's essentially, I like to build products that are based on sort of my values. So, when starting out Crowd Party, I started Crowd Party was during 2020. But a little bit of a background story about myself for folks in the room and folks who are watching. But I've worked in the HR technology industry for about 4.5 years prior to quitting my job in 2020. And that particular company, really took great care of its employees, and their company motto was people first. And I was sort of, I loved seeing what an amazing culture can do for its organization. And I loved, being able to be closer to my peers. And, truth be told, my team wasn't just a team of colleagues. I mean, we're still friends to this very day. We just had a Zoom call yesterday, and some of them are from Miami, like I was mentioning previously, Erica. And we still keep in touch with each other. And, I think strong company culture does that. It extends beyond just the workplace. And the cool thing, I've sort of progressed in this company from an engineer to leading the mobile team. And I've taken a lot of cool, learnings and insightful sort of processes from that transition. What I can say about company culture, whether or not, we have people leaders here. We have founders of their own companies in this summit, but also from people watching. But if you have a culture where people are comfortable to be silly around one another, I think that is a great opportunity for folks to be vulnerable around one another as well. So just a really good example, right? As I was doing my team leading duties, there was one report that I had, and he was having issues, with his day-to-day work. So, what we did was I asked him, what would you like to do? And he said, can we just play a game of ping pong? I said, yeah, let's do that. So as we were rallying the ping pong ball back and forth, we were talking about, what was upsetting him. And I was sort of like, just thinking out loud and very casual. And to this very day, I consider him one of my really close friends, right? And, you don't want to go to work. Like when I was doing the hiring, I said, I want to hire somebody that I can sit beside with for the next 10 years of my life. And that has to do a lot with culture, right? And when we say culture, it doesn't have to mean that, hey, you should be able to grab drinks after work and talk about the Raptors. No, that's not what culture is. It's about being challenging yet open-minded. It's about being a team player. You look at the greatest teams in sports histories, right? I mean, not to be biased, but Toronto Raptors, for example, when they won the championship, right? People had specific roles, and people had to make sure that they worked well together, right? And you look at the behind the scenes, and it's all family, right? So, anyways, a little bit of background as to how I got to Crowd Party. So, during the pandemic, basically, I had to host a 70 people happy hour. And I was like, excuse me? So they said, Justin, host an event for all our teams, or all our sibling teams, because there are now multiple mobile teams within the company. And I said, okay, well, how do I make this work? So I had one goal in mind, right? I knew, right, based on previous experiences, that only 2 to 3 people are going to be talking, and everybody else is going to be eating popcorn or be drinking whiskey outside of the camera, outside the scope of the camera. There you go. There you go, Tim. And I said, if I can engage all 70 people for the first 15 minutes, I think it's a win. That was the key thing. I said, first 15 minutes of the 45-minute happy hour. If I can do that, if I can at least get them to laugh for the first 15 minutes, we're good.
May I ask,
Yeah.
How did you get chosen to do this?
Because I was a team lead, and I was, I guess, what they would call a fun engineer. Most engineering is a very introverted field. So unless you volunteer someone, so I've got volunteered, but also they said, "Hey, Justin, you're witty and funny, so go host this damn thing."
So you mean an engineer with social skills?
There you go. Engineer with social skills. So yeah, I mean, but also because I was a team lead, and at the time, a fun engineer, I love that one. At the time, that was sort of my task, right? It wasn't really about leading projects, but it was making sure that the team and all the teams surrounding it was a cohesive unit, because we were sort of the platform, we were the heart. So from time to time, I needed to, I felt like the prime minister. I had to visit different lands and like say, hey, how's the team going? How's our platform doing? You know what I mean? And basically from time to time, we'd get all the teams together in person, but we couldn't this time because it was during the pandemic. So that was sort of my goal, was like, okay, well, let's have all the teams have a good time together for the first 15 minutes. So what did I do? Right? I went in my creative brain and I said, what can I do to engage people for the first 15 minutes? Well, I can't tell a story, because then it's not really that engaging, right? People might fall asleep. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to create some sort of game. And then they can use the Google Meet. We were using Google Meet at the time. They can use the chat box to interact with that game. So I said, okay, we're going to have like fun little tidbits of trivia around each team, maybe do a little bit of charades here and there, maybe do a little bit of would you rather. So I said, I spent an hour and a half trying to create this damn thing. It was like 10 slides on Google Slides at the time. And I was like, who was the manager of this team? Who's the architect of this team, right? And there's trivia, and then, charades, act out, time off, right? And then people would interact in the chat. So we started this game, and lo and behold, it was at the time when everybody had their cameras on still, which I love because you could see people's reactions, right? So I would ask a question, or we would do charades, and I think one of the charades words were punch out, right? So somebody was just like, punching the screens, everybody was laughing. It's like, what the heck is that, right? And then people were like typing up on the chat there. And to my surprise, a lot of people loved it, right? And they were there for the first 20 minutes. And out of the 70 people, at least 40 of them stayed. So more than half after the fact, right? They're sharing some of the inside jokes, laughing about some of the charades that were already brought up during the beginning of that session. So I thought, well, that was fun, but that took me an hour and a half. An hour and a half engineering time is not cheap. An hour and a half in engineering time, you could be doing something else, right? So I said, what if there's I can't be the only person suffering from this. So what if I want a tool where I can just press a click, press one button. It'll do that fun for me. It's like fun in a box, right? So I was looking at different alternatives, and I said, well, too comprehensive, too complicated, a lot to offer, but to learn this is just going to be a mess. Like, I don't want to learn anything. I just want to press a damn button. So I prototyped something, and then used it within the company for a little bit, and then grabbed some feedback. And then eventually people ended up liking it. And then, June of 2020, I left the job, and I said, I think I've got something here, and it really, I think I had a really good foundation, which is joy. And actually, that's what I love seeing at the workplace, is joy, right? Last thing I want to see at the workplace, especially like a corporate environment, right? I don't want to see, the thing that aches my heart is when I see a job sucking the soul out of a person. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you all have experienced that, but sometimes you see somebody, it's like they were so lively 5 years ago, and it's like they're a different person now because of a job. A job should fulfill a person right? And should allow them to grow further and have a much more zest for life. I think that's, again, unpopular opinion. So a lot of people on this live stream might get triggered, but that's what I think it is. But part of that is the joy, the culture of joy. Are you having fun? Are you having fun talking to your teammates? Are you guys having a good time? Don't take, one of the company startups that I follow called Bite Check. Their company motto is don't take life too seriously, right? Because you can't, right? So, when I was playing games with my team pre-pandemic, it was great because when we play Uno, even the managers would join. We got basically like some good old chunk of time where we could just have fun without the worries, without the stress. And then during that fun, it's like we get, a deeper rapport with each other. People start talking about their kids and how their kids used to play this rule in Uno and they stack +4s, right? So we would try it out. And now we know a little bit more about them. But anyways, that's sort of the origin story of Crowd Party. Actually, why don't we give it a shot? Yeah. So this is a virtual summit here. So I'm going to tell you guys basically ways on how to engage some of your either virtual talks, webinars, conversations, or in person. And thanks for that, Tim. We have personalizing gamification in the workplace. That's great. Okay, so do I have screen sharing capabilities now, Erica?
Yes.
Awesome. So what I can do is I can walk you all through the platform real quick and give you guys a bunch of quick tips and tricks on how to host an engaging talk or webinar or in-person event. So welcome to Crowd Party, the instant joy for events, teams, or classrooms. Right, it's free for up to 10 players. There are no downloads required, no app, no nothing. You don't have to worry about that. Actually, to play, you don't even have to sign up. You only have to sign up if you want to, have your own custom room, something like that. So the best way to get started is just host a game, right? It's like try me, So we have a bunch of featured rooms. So this one actually just came up, Spirit Halloween, the price is right. So even I myself, as the founder, I'm surprised at the new content that's coming in because we have an amazing content strategist and she comes up with content on the daily, on the weekly, and every week I'm just surprised at what she's gonna put up. A little bit like, biting my nails. It's like, okay, what's up next? You know what I mean? So in this case, we're ready to go for Halloween. Most likely to Villain Edition, right? So we have the Halloween party. We're getting Halloween really early this time, folks. Canadian Thanksgiving party, Oktoberfest, Hispanic Heritage Month, Falling for Autumn, video games. You have all these things, and we have like back to school icebreakers. So these are the featured rooms that always come up there. And then we have the classic games, right? So if you just want to play like a party mix or pick who by itself or two truths and a lie, you can do that as well. And we have Friendly Fire. So we have these games called the Crowd Party Originals because one of our customers said, hey, Crowd Party is like the Netflix of workplace games. And I said, yes, and we'll take that. We'll put that in our copy, right? So we have these things called Crowd Party Originals, like Withdraw, which is our classic take on Pictionary, where people draw in pairs. And then Friendly Fire is like this like silly icebreaker, which we'll all get to play in a second. And then charades and a classic trivia night. And then we also have historical featured rooms here. If you want to go through some of those rooms, so things like Only One Earth, Black History Month, Jurassic Trivia, International Women's Day Party. So lots of featured templates and rooms that will cover a lot of your use cases there. So in this case, let's see. I really want to play the Spirit Halloween, the price is right, but maybe let's go with something a little bit more interactive, like Falling for Autumn, right? So Falling for Autumn, we have trivia, majority wins, pick who, would you rather, and Friendly Fire, and the gift round. So here's a quick tip. You can specify the number of rounds. It shows you how long it'd take approximately, right? You can go ahead and toggle on, off and on the trivia, like whether or not you want each round. And then at the very end here, you can actually customize this really easily. So don't mind this little dashboard here. This is for me because I'm the admin, right? But you have all your rounds here. So for friendly fire, you kind of see the question preview. You have the question preview for trivia, and then actually this is a really good room to get started with. So maybe we're gonna go with like, instead of 12 rounds, we'll go with like 7 rounds. Okay, so I'm gonna remove a couple, and real easy to do that. So just press this remove button, remove that, and then you can sort of remove which ones you kind of don't like. So I'm just gonna take that. Who is most, okay, I like that. Okay, I like that question. Maybe not this question. And the cool thing is you can just add as easily, right? So what I often like to tell folks, whether it's people hosting events, but if you want to personalize it and have some sort of that personal touch, you can create your own, right? You like what I just did. I took an existing featured room for fall, and we make it so easy for you because again, like I'm designing the product based on as if I would use it, and I do use it because I'm going to use it tonight. But how can I make the experience so much easier? So we have this randomize button. So it'll just pick a random trivia from, or even a random question. And that comes up for every round, right? So for friendly fire, there were pretty scary legends about name the vampire, werewolf, and witch. So there you go. I just added another cool round there. Right, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove one more round there, and then that's it. We could say virtual summiteers. There we go. Put a nice little emoji there for fall. All right, you can specify whether the room is private or public. You can shuffle the rounds. In this case, I like them the way they are. And I'm gonna go ahead and press done. Right, you have your host link, you have your public link, and all you have to do during your call or your event, right, is you just press host a game. And now the cool thing is, can you all hear the sound just fine coming from my end?
It's very faint.
It is very faint. Okay, that's all right. So we can do presenter mode or personal mode. So we have this new crowd party feature where if you don't want to play using a Zoom screen like I am, you can play it on the road. So now you can play it at the office without even having to present it, on a computer. But in this case, I'm going to play presenter mode. And the cool thing about crowd party is that the host also gets to have fun. I also get to join this game with you. So go ahead and grab your phones out, okay? And then just go ahead and scan that QR code, real easy to get into. There you go. We already have Zakia joining us. Hey, Zakia. There I am. And then you can also copy the shareable link if you want folks to join from their computers, or they can just easily go to crowdparty.app and type in the pin code, right? So we're gonna wait for everybody here. So I see Jason, I see Erica. We're missing Tim and Tom. Tim Tams.
Justin, may I ask, if I create a game, can I send that game, like a personalized game, to another person and they can play by themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a sharing functionality. If you go to your rooms, you can click one of your rooms and then just share it, and you'll have a link. All right, I think we have everybody. So
Zakia wants to ask you a question.
Yes, Zakia.
Hi, Justin. I absolutely love Crowd Party. I used it for a live stream, but there's that delay that we have, and maybe you'll show this during it. So there's that delay where I was asking the question, it was showing on my screen, but the viewers, they were about 10 or 15 seconds behind. I was live streaming on Facebook. And so I was moving on or finishing the question, and it was just showing up on their screen. So maybe it was something
Okay.
with high duration or something, but I was closing the question before they actually got a chance to see it because of the
Oh,
delay.
right. Interesting. So that usually happens depending on, because we're all, sort of on our own individual devices. So your internet connection might be different from their internet connection. So sometimes depending on like, the internet connection of a few folks and maybe like the distance as well, there could be some delays in that regard. My recommendation for that is just, you can increase the round times.
Yeah.
So if you think, there's a lot of people. So for example, we're calling from North America and we have a lot of people watching from Asia, that's miles away. So, we could expect a little bit of latency there. But usually like, this is probably one of the rarest occurrences that this has come up. So usually latency is good, but you can always customize how long the rounds are. But I'll definitely go back to our engineering team and be like, what are you guys doing?
Is
Fix
there
this
any
problem.
way? Is there any way for the game to sort of monitor for responses? Because it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't get rid of the latency, but at least it could sort of delay, set it so don't go to the next question until X% of the people have responded or something.
Right. So there is, and you'll see this in a bit. There is basically functionality that's built in where the round finishes prematurely if everybody answers. Right. So in that regard, like I said, Zakia, if that's something that you're noticing a lot with your clients, maybe I think, increasing the round time, like the round duration would probably do justice. Right. Because then rather than having 15 seconds, everybody could just, say you set it to half a minute, and then now you're just waiting for everybody to answer. And you can always end the round earlier if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was definitely user error. It was me being really excited about using it for the first time and not paying attention to that duration. So we were already in the middle of the game. So yeah, it was definitely feedback. Problem exists between keyboard and chair and not crowd party.
No.
Okay.
I like that.
No. But we'll definitely look into the latency. I mean, we have analytics on that to see if we are having an issue with latency. So we'll look into that for you. You could also pause the game if you'd like. But let's get this party started. So I'm joining on my phone, right? And here are just a couple of rules that you can read out, so ensure the screen is being shared on Zoom, check. Questions will appear on this screen here, and then answer using the device or phone you've joined with. And the faster you answer, the more points you'll get. Y'all ready for this? Let's have some fun. All right.
According to a Journal of Consumer Research study, what type of movie is watched more in the fall? Action, horror, or romantic?
I feel like this is like self-explanatory because there's a certain, wait, what? Romantic. Oh my God. I was bamboozled. I was totally, because fall, Halloween, horror. Is that?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting. But I guess there's a lot of like fall rom-coms as well. I mean, you look at Netflix recently, there's a lot of rom-coms that have gone up.
Yeah.
Jason,
Sweet November is one of my favorites.
All right, so this is the infamous gift round.
You just received a gift.
So you can
Will
open
you
the gift
accept
or
it?
decline the gift. So if you open the gift, basically you can win points or you can lose points. And I think there's just some weird graphic glitch here because of my computer. So if you
the poop icon.
You lost 150 points, unfortunately. So this is a good round to just kind of if you want to just like kind of randomize the results a little bit, just in case not everybody's good at trivia, right? So Jason looks like he didn't open the gift because he still has his points. All right.
What is Erica's go-to fall drink? Apple cider, hot chocolate, or pumpkin spice?
Erica, I feel like you mentioned this before. Oh yeah, I know it.
Yep.
So rounds like this is particularly cool because this is a common round type that people use for things like onboarding, for masterminds to sort of, it's a really great round type to get to know people at a very low, in a very low friction way. Because now you're giving Erica, why is it apple cider?
I like all thing Apple,
And there you go.
except for the computers.
Except for the computer. So instead of her getting her an iPhone for her birthday, which she'll absolutely love, she'll much rather prefer an apple pie. Okay, guys? So get her
I'm
an
sorry,
apple pie.
I actually don't like cooked fruit, so I gotta throw that in.
There you go. So
So
again,
an Android phone.
an Android phone. And get her one of those flipping Samsung Galaxies or what have you. All right, so top 3, Justin, Jason, and Erica.
Made it
So
to the
this-
board.
You pick the majority to
Who
win
is most
points.
likely to put up full decorations around their place? Tom, did Jason, Hodge, or Justin?
Okay. So what, for the 3 people, why would you say Jason is the most likely to put up fall decorations?
I
I
just
heard
thought
half
it'd be
the
nice.
question.
No, it shows that they totally don't know me. I ain't putting nary a direction. No,
Jason,
That
are
ain't
you a decorations type of guy?
no. I mean, I'm
Uh-uh.
a creative, but I'm not gonna put up fall decorations or most decorations and all. That takes a lot of time.
I just thought it was decorations in general. So it's like, well, I know he's quite religious, so he probably goes nuts at Christmas. That was the only evidence I had.
Is that true, Jason?
No.
No.
I mean, yeah,
You're
no.
not a
He was like,
decoration.
nope, nope.
I assume since he had grandkids.
I don't have.
Oh, that's it.
You don't?
No.
Oh.
There you go.
I just saw a lot of little people, and I thought they were yours.
Yeah, they're mine, not
Oh,
grand.
okay.
I think Zakia had her hand up. What's up, Zakia?
So this is going back to my question. See at the bottom how you have that next round. I think maybe that was I'm trying to troubleshoot at the same time,
Uh-huh.
but you have the ability to control when it's going to the next round. I think I had auto progression or
autoplay
autoplay.
on. Yeah.
So that's it. See, feedback.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it's
So
not
once you turn this
advancing.
on, it's gonna run on its own, right? So you
That
gotta
was
turn
it.
it off to let it go to the next round. It's usually off by default though, so you don't have to turn it on. All right. All right, Jessica, Erica, and Jason. Tim getting some points in there. All right, make these last few rounds
Who is
count.
most likely to host the best Thanksgiving feast? Tim, Zakia, or Justin?
All right. Let's see. She's shaking her head. She's like, no, no.
Get that turkey on.
Unless
I
you
think
all
you've
want
just been voted the hostess of the Thanksgiving feast.
unless you all want to eat soap cake, I think you better go somewhere else for Thanksgiving if it's edible.
Oh man,
Hey, there's a
Zakia had made it
edible
so
soap.
far, and I swear it was a brownie, and I was like, it looks so good.
There you go. Well, I was just saying Zakia based on her background. I think she has like that big coffee maker. Is that a soup? Is that a soup? Dispenser?
No soup for you. That's all soap making equipment behind me.
soap making.
With an
Oh, my
A,
God.
yes.
I thought you were in a kitchen. That's what I based my answer on. I was like,
All
"Well,
the
she's from
trickery.
the kitchen."
It is a
Yeah.
kitchen, isn't
It's a soap kitchen. Not you better not eat it though.
it?
All right. So note to self, do not eat Zakia's turkey because it might be made of soap. All right. Jason, Erica, and Justin leading the top 3 here. Second last round, make it count. All right.
Who is most likely to go trick or treating? Erica, did Jason, Hodge, or Tom?
Unanimous.
Free candy night.
It's got to be because of the kids. I mean,
Oh,
not that,
yeah,
Tom, do you have
I'm
kids
too
yourself?
big. I'm too
Not
big to
me,
go
I
by
live out in the
myself.
country.
Mm.
Nobody tricks or treats around here, so.
All right, noted. Jason, do you have kids?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jason would have been the next.
No.
Logical.
Erica would have been, that's the right pick.
Okay.
You don't like free candy night?
Uh-uh.
What are you going as this year, Erica? What's the family theme this year?
My 7-year-old will most likely be Catboy from PJ Masks. And my 15-year-old, she likes Lilo and Stitch and she really wants to be Stitch. So I'm gonna let her do it.
Oh, that's
Awesome
awesome.
costume.
I'd want to see, I'd want to see them in the costume, the Stitch costume.
Okay. She's a
I
giant.
love
So
Lilo and Stitch.
she's as big as I am, but she still wants to go. So why not?
Why not? Kids got to be kids. Kids got to be kids.
Yeah.
You got to go trick or treating. After a couple of years of not being able to, we got to go all out this year.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. This is unfortunate. The founder is winning at his own game. All right.
There were pretty scary legends about the Jason Hodge, but a vampire with your werewolf.
I don't know what Jason Hodge would be. But it's got unanimous. But Jason also chose werewolf. Why werewolf out of all the options, Jason?
Well, I picked him because I figured that's what everybody was going to pick.
You were correct.
Good reasoning, yeah.
You wouldn't like I wouldn't mind being a vampire then. Just sleep in real late and not worry about people for the daytime.
When you say vampire, it makes me think of energy suckers.
There you go.
Oh,
Jason's not an energy sucker. Neither are you, Justin.
we're werewolves. We howl. We project energy. But there you go. Well, now today we might see Jason this Halloween in a werewolf costume. Please tag us on Instagram. And let's see, he's won our game for today. We have Erica leading, myself, and then we have Jason. And then last but not least, the soap queen herself, Zakia. So the cool thing about that is you can play this for a couple minutes. Everybody's going to have a great time. People are going to be laughing, going to get to know each other, right? Great for things like getting to know your audience, getting to know the members of your community, getting to know them, onboarding new people, maybe intern appreciation day, getting to know a little bit more about your team. And we did that so easily. I mean, I created that game in less than, 2 minutes. And we ran through it. I got to enjoy it because usually a lot of these games, the hosts don't get to enjoy it as much as they do, right? But I enjoyed it just as much as you do and learned a lot about everybody here today. So definitely, use it and abuse it and spread joy with Crowd Party. I mean, that's sort of, at the end of the day, I just want to see more people laughing, more people smiling at one another. Because, I mean, who doesn't want a more joyful world? I feel like the world is too dark of a place now that we just need a little bit more shine, more of that light to shine, a little bit more positivity, a little bit more good vibes. And that's what we had today. We came here for a mastermind. We left with smiles and laughter.
Justin, I gotta ask, was this game fun because you are a great host? I've also played this game with Zakia, and she is also a fun host. So how much of this fun depends on the host?
So that's interesting you mentioned, because I was actually interviewing a team, a very much so introverted engineering team. And they said, we love Crowd Party because we don't have to do anything. And they read out the questions for us, right? And then we have our fun time without having the introverts be faking as an extrovert. So it's cool because they're having fun without having to do anything. So it doesn't need a good host. At the end of the day, if you don't have a host that's as energetic as I am, you can play the game as is and it'll still read the questions aloud and the content's still going to be the same. And then the cool thing is, right, because the content and the delivery is the same, those conversations still pop up, right? So if Jason was an introvert himself, right, I mean, it's the questions are so silly and low friction enough to be so that the introverts themselves will kind of talk amongst their, each other and get to know each other, right? So you don't need a good host. Like, we've designed the product so that you don't need a host at all. Take my job. Take Zakia's job. Well, don't. But if you wanted to play it without a host, you can, right?
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Because I am an introvert, so funny enough.
Wait, who said that? Was that Jason?
Yeah, I'm an introvert.
You're an introvert. Okay. I
You're
didn't know
really
that.
fun though, Jason.
Well, you see, I think that's the misnomer. People think that introverts aren't fun, or that they
Oh.
think that they're not a people person. They actually are. It just depends on where you get your energy. I energize when I am by myself, as opposed to when I'm in a crowd of people.
Mm.
Sometimes I can flip the ambivert switch, but most of the time I'm introvert.
Gotcha.
Justin, I do have a question about how you were, or not you, but the game, it was dynamically choosing people. Is that picking people who are actively playing in the game, or did you set that up ahead of time when you said Erica's costume or Jason would be a werewolf? Did the game choose that person?
Yeah, the game chooses the people. So that's the cool thing about it. Again, no work to be done. You saw how I created the room, right? I didn't have to worry about anybody. When people scan in, it sort of randomizes and picks from the group of active participants at the time.
Active.
Right? And that's how it works for, yeah. So I mean, so like whoever's joined, not, it doesn't have to mean that they have to play every round, but whoever's joined at that point, at that game, will get to be chosen. So it's kind of interesting because like the randomness dynamic, sometimes the shyest person will be chosen, and it's like, oh, too bad, the game chose you. You have been chosen.
Now, how does the point spread work out? Is it who first answers it, or because if everybody answers the right question, then does everybody get the same points, or is it who answers first gets the most, and then it breaks down from there? How does that work?
It's who answers the most, so the latter. Who answers the quickest, right? And who answers the most.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Erica, have you oh, go ahead, sorry.
One thing about latency, it's not a great test in one sense, but I'm in Japan and I perceive no latency. Now I'm connected to my optic fiber, it's connected to my wired or optical modem, but I perceive my phone, I didn't perceive any latency at all. So if that's of any use to you guys.
That was very useful.
When I was describing the latency, we weren't on Zoom. We were using Facebook Live and YouTube, which has that automatic 15 seconds. So even though I say hello, the audience doesn't hear that until about 10, 15 seconds after I've said hello.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Right.
So I have to be mindful of that as the person, and then make sure I don't have that autoplay turned on when I'm doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I know what you're talking about, Zakia, because I sometimes go on Twitch.
Yeah.
And there's that, 10, 15 second delay from my real time to their real time.
Yeah.
Right. So that makes sense. But thanks for that, Tim. That's very helpful to know that there is no latency going to Japan. And what are you doing in Japan? Take me with you.
I'm teaching English and doing business.
That's awesome. Hope I can do that one day.
I have a question about leveraging this within a virtual event. AirMeet has this iframe feature where you're able to embed external applications into it. Erica, have you successfully done it or seen Crowd Party integrated within AirMeet?
I haven't. I just assumed that I could share my screen. I haven't tried it yet. I did hook up one stream to live stream inside of AirMeet, and I thought I could put a Crowd Party on one of those screens or something like that.
Yeah.
So I haven't tried it yet.
They have it over there where the chat window is. So normally where attendees would chat, they could participate, like you could put it there. So I'll try it on another one. I just know you host a lot of events and attend them, but I haven't done it successfully yet. It's
funny because we're actually talking with, we had a few conversations with AirMeet, but perhaps I should, revitalize those conversations, because we actually did something similar with another audio spatial company called Bramble. So we had basically we had given them their own specific crowd party that would work as an embeddable crowd party.
Okay.
So it is doable. It's possible. It's just not possible from like, you can't just take the crowd party link and embed it as your own. We would have to talk with that specific company to provide them their own instance so that that is possible.
Okay.
So for anybody who's looking to embed crowd party, we have developer APIs so that we can embed it onto your site. We just have to have that conversation.
Got it.
Yeah, but in the meantime, like Erica was saying, screen sharing would probably do justice.
Absolutely.
So you guys know how you can have like maybe little commercials inside of AirMeet or like videos that will play for everybody. I was thinking that I could use Crowd Party to have like little pop-up games in between sessions.
Mhm.
That's how I was thinking about using it.
Yeah, great little icebreakers to just, break from all the talks, like something a little bit more engaging and fun. As you're going from all these different talks and you're consuming all this other forms of content. But yeah, so really one thing that I'd like to also share with this group is it is going to be our launch anniversary soon, and we don't usually do this, but we're offering lifetime passes just to give back towards our community. And we might actually change the pricing on this later on because this is not public information yet. We're not going to have our launch anniversary till around November. But there are going to be a few changes, more features, obviously, a new look and feel. But as part of that launch, we are giving away a limited lifetime passes. And that way you can have access to Crowd Party for a lifetime without having to go through our SaaS channel, which is a monthly subscription. So if you're interested in that, I will send the link in the chat here. But please keep it a secret as best as you can, because it's not live yet, only for your eyes and whoever's watching this. All right. That being said, I am also available on LinkedIn, so come find me, Justin Quaresma. After the talk, would love to connect with all of you summiteers here, as well as people who are tuning in. And let's chat. Let's chat about culture. Let's chat about gamification in the workplace, and let's chat about joy. So come find me. Actually, I should probably drop my LinkedIn URL here. Just that way we can all connect after this.
Sure.
Already done. Justin, what I really liked about the whole the game party thing, because I've never seen it before, I've never played it or anything, is in addition to all you've said in terms of a classroom or instructional environment, you could use that as the first part of what Zakiya and I recently talked about, which is called the challenge wheel, where the first thing is more or less assessing the knowledge of the group. What do you know about X? And then people can volunteer, but this could be used to facilitate it. It was like, how much is a mole? If it's a chemistry geek,
right.
Who knows a little bit about this subject, who knows nothing about it. Yeah, it could be really used really well for that.
No, for sure. And, we've been used by, like governmental training just to make it a little bit more fun for people to have key takeaways after, a 2-hour training session. Right.
Hey,
So for reviews, for, overviews, you could definitely use it to, like you said, test people's knowledge in certain particular subjects.
Hey, Erica, do you remember Toasty?
Yep.
Yeah, they had some similar functionality, but they never developed that like you have. You've obviously put a lot of work into this. They kind of threw this thing out there, and it had some functionality like this, but they just, I don't know whether they just got bored with it or whatever, but they just didn't develop it like you have. So this is impressive. I tried it, I liked it, but they just never worked the glitches out and just kind of let it languish. So I guess that's, maybe you can talk to that a little bit. Is kind of, you get this out here, but keeping the momentum going and keeping it fresh and coming up with new games and how you do that. So that's just kind of interesting. Because it's a lot of work to do this and just kind of trying to stay ahead of the pack, I guess, out there. Because somebody's going to look at this and say, oh, let's do a competitor. So
Yeah.
trying to stay ahead of it is probably as much a challenge as developing it in the first place.
Right. And Tom, thanks for bringing that up. And because I think that's one of the true, one of the most important things about working on Crowd Party is that it is a canvas for me, right? So we do have a small team here in Toronto. We're 4 people. But it is a canvas for, the entire team. And I think, a lot of folks, I often get this question, from whether it's investors or other founders, but they're like, how do you differentiate your product? And I tell them, I'm going to differentiate it because I am a unique individual with unique ideas. And because this is my canvas, I will go ahead and express those ideas, within this product, right? And so for games like, Friendly Fire, the one where you like pick a random person, that came because I was playing a game with my sister. This is a game where we played with our friends back when we were younger, right? And these are experiences that I can take now, having a platform to build on and express the uniqueness of, the playfulness that I have. And I think, it always, like this project, this business brings me joy. And I think that's the most important thing, right? When I'm playing this, whether it's with a mastermind like this or a game night tonight, when I see people smiling, that just validates that whatever this unique twist I'm adding onto the business or the product, it's working. It's part of my essence that is being embedded into this product. So I'm not too worried about competitors. They can copy it, but they can't. What was that saying? They can't replicate it. They can copy it, but they can't replicate it. Anyways, you all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they don't. Copies are. You get a little business that way, but you don't have the same investment when you're copying something instead of coming up with the original stuff. And
Right.
I wasn't worried too much about the the copies as much as how you keep your incentive up to kind of keep developing things
Right.
and keep that momentum going. That's
A lot of
kind
customers. So customer discussions, right? So I mean, Zakia just today mentioned about a couple of feedback around latency. So we do a lot of, I like to connect with the customers on an individual basis. Like I don't want to use a corporate email. I use my, justin@crowdparty.app. If you want to email me, that's where you go. But I respond to them individually. I try to add them on LinkedIn, right? I try to get to know how to use Crowd Party. You'd be surprised at how many different ways Crowd Party can be used. I mean, coaches love it, and we've been using things like baby showers, you know what I mean? Like, so lots of different use cases. And it's just really interesting to talk to your customers and tell them what they want to see more of. And I think, when I have those customer conversations, not only does it make me joyful to hear that they're enjoying using the product, but it makes me joyful because they want to see more, like more growth on the product, and they can sort of direct that growth, which is kind of nice.
Nice.
So,
There's
So-
something to be said about dominating the market, right? In terms of you're talking about if you're the first mover and or you're the person who has the biggest chunk of the pie, once you own it, everybody else has to play catch up with you. If they're even going to do it at all, their job is harder than yours.
Right.
Well, one thing I really like about Crowd Party, you have a feature in there where you can actually play a video. And that kind of gives you a break from hosting, where you can upload something where you're maybe highlighting something that was previously done or something that's upcoming. And I haven't seen that anywhere. And what it does is it kind of gives the host a breather because everybody's watching this video, and then you can come back on and have a discussion about it. So I thought that was really unique. And it does give you a breather depending on how long the video is. One of them was 30 seconds, so it wasn't really a breather. So I ran, came back, because when you're hosting these things online, Typically you may have to go to the restroom. We did a 4-hour marathon stream, and I was looking forward to when is that video coming up so I can try and run, and don't do that. But I think that's a really, really great feature, and definitely something that sets Crowd Party apart.
Zakia,
Wow.
you just
Can you
gave me a great
select it?
idea. But you know, it is after 11. So everybody that's watching via live stream, I got to cut y'all off, because if you want to hang out with cool people like this, you got to join the